Hey guys, welcome back to another flashlight review. Today we're going to be looking at this amazing little flashlight here, the Convoy T6. And Convoy have just released this new version of the T6. It's a hybrid copper and titanium version. I've got the polished version, but you can also get it in stone wash. And tell you what, looks pretty incredible and feels like $1,000,000 as well. And you can see that it's got this sort of copper head here, which is there to help mitigate those, the heat sinking issues of the 100% titanium model. I do find that the full titanium model just gets really, really hot underneath the LED. So yeah, I've got the one with the SFT-12 in there, which is, it's kind of like the round version of the Osram W1. So yeah, I thought it'd be good to have this one so I can compare it to my other T6, just the aluminium version. Pretty much the same thing though, but it has the SFT-25 in there. So hang around till the end, I'll show you how they fare side by side. But yeah, the T6, in case some of you are not aware of, has incredible throw and output for its size. I mean, it's something that just fits into the palm of your hand like that. And the dimensions of the reflector are pretty much the same as the S6 and the S8. Okay, which takes an 18650 cell, a lot more battery life, but for something that runs off a 14500 cell, I mean, you're going to struggle to find anything that outperforms that in terms of throw, and especially for this price range. But yeah, very versatile, accessible, you can chuck it in your pocket. I really like how Convoy released some of these copper and titanium versions of some of their lights. Just has a more premium look and feel to it. And titanium is also much more durable compared to aluminium. And you can see here, and one of the things I've noticed, the cooling fins are just a little bit thicker on the copper version than the aluminium version. So yeah, let's see what you get in the box. Now it's pretty basic. You get the light itself, and you can have a battery included if you opt for that. This one here is the Vapcell H10. And I recommend getting this one because it has a 10 amp draw. So the driver in here is a 5 amp driver. So you're going to need a battery that's going to be able to handle that. I know some of these, I think the H12 is a 3 amp battery. So yeah, it's probably going to struggle in this light. So make sure you have a battery that has a proper 10 amp draw, 10 amp draw. And you also get a lanyard. But that's pretty much it with Convoy. It's very Spartan. And that's the box. They keep it simple, which I like. Here's a little side-by-side comparison of the Convoy T6 with a few other flashlights. And I've got the aluminium version of the T6 here. And you can feel already it's significantly heavier, but still titanium, if you look it up, is only just a little heavier than aluminium. So I think as an EDC, this is going to be completely fine. If you're talking about like a full copper body, I find those to be a little bit too heavy. And the aluminium version will dissipate heat better, but with the copper in there, that's really going to help out. I've also got the Convoy T3 here. Okay, also a 14500 cell flashlight. It's a little bit smaller, and the big difference is also the bezel diameter. You can get a lot more throw there with the T6. And yeah, the Convoy S8, which pretty much has the exact same reflector in there. So I pretty much would call these quite comparable in terms of performance, in terms of outputs and throw. Okay, obviously you're going to get a lot more battery life out of the S8 because it takes an 18650. And of course, I've got the Convoy T4 here, which I'll be reviewing in another video. The heads seem kind of similar, but the T4 is a little bit larger. And if you actually look into the reflectors, the T6 has pretty much the same diameter reflector, but it's just deeper than the T4. So, it's going to throw further than the T4. All right, here's a little close-up of the Convoy T6 copper and titanium version. And the body feels very durable, well made, really feels like it's going to take a good knock. And the difference as well is when you have those anodized aluminium flashlights, when you give them a whack or you drop them, scratch them, they start looking a bit, a little bit ratty after a while. But with these copper and titanium flashlights, because it has the actual metal finish on the outside, you're going to get these natural kind of wear marks on there that just blend in and actually add to this kind of antiquing look of the flashlight. So it actually wears quite nicely. It's also important to mention that there is a clear coat of varnish on the copper. You can remove that though with steel wool if you want that to tarnish. The head is a little bit wider than the rest of the body, and it feels pretty smooth, but there's some decent knurling on there, and the tail as well. Do like those cooling fins. That's really going to help to dissipate heat, especially in a small host like this. And the great thing about all these Convoy flashlights is that you can disassemble them without any special tools. And you can see here just the tail, a single tail switch. Okay, and yeah, you can get a metal one as well if you want in there. That's just the stock one. It tail stands. There's a couple of holes there as well if you want to attach a lanyard or a clip. There are also two little indentations here on the side if you want to attach a pocket clip. You have to buy those separately from Convoy though. All right, so here's a quick little look down the bezel, and you can see that SFT-12 in there, and it's a circular LED. Really reminds me of a circular version of the Osram W1. Sits right there at the base, smooth reflector, and you've got a glass lens on the front. And you can see the bezel is slightly crenulated as well, so if you have the light on here, you can see the light sort of spreading out from the bezel. The Convoy T6 features 12 customizable mode groupings. I'll talk about this in a couple of my other videos, which I'll link below, so if you want to know a little bit more about them. But basically, they feature different brightness adjustments, so you can have particular mode grouping that just has 100% mode. Every time you turn the light on, it goes to 100%. And the main one that I use is the 1%, 10%, 35% and 100% mode grouping. So it gives you a good range of modes in there to choose from. I find this is fantastic. There's even some other mode groupings in there that allow you to add on like a strobe mode or even a bike flashing mode as well, if that's important for you. So basically you turn on the flashlight, and at the moment I've got the 4 mode grouping, and you half press, so it's 1%, 10%, 35% and 100%. And I've also got the mode memory disabled, so whenever I turn on the flashlight, it's going to go to the lowest mode, regardless of, even if I'm in like this highest mode, turn it off, turn it back on, it's going to go straight to that lowest mode again. But that is adjustable, so if you want to turn that mode memory back on, you can do that quite easily in the interface. Okay, I ran a bunch of ceiling bounce tests, and you can see here I've got the T6 copper titanium version on 100%, and it's actually pretty impressive. It lasts about 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes on 100% before it starts to step down. Just before the 4-minute mark, you can see there it's just sitting underneath that 60% mark for the rest of the test. I ran a second ceiling bounce test on the 35% mode, and you can see here quite similar. You get about 2.5 minutes on that 35% before it drops down very slightly. Still stays above 80%. I'd say, around 90% output throughout the rest of the test. I ran a bunch of tests also with my Opal Lightmaster Pro, and you can see here 100% mode. I got 448 meters of throw. Pretty impressive. And even on the 30% mode, it's 364 meters. CCT range from 5,300 to 5,900, and you can see the CRI here was between 62 and 66. I ran some temperature measurements also with my Zoe ZTR01, and you can see here the head of the flashlight reached a maximum of 75 degrees Celsius, and the handle of the light, the battery tube, reached a maximum of 40 degrees Celsius. Just keep in mind that these are very rough estimates. All right, so some considerations to keep in mind if you're thinking about getting the Convoy T6. The first one is that there's no onboard charging, which is very common with some Convoy flashlights. So yeah, you're going to need an external charger for your 14500 cell battery, unless you've got a 14500 cell battery that has a charging port already on it. The second consideration is that, yeah, limited runtime on high modes, and you can see with the turbo mode, still pretty impressive, but yeah, it does drain the battery quickly, steps down after 2 minutes. So it's really meant for short-term, short bursts of usage rather than a sustained output, which is the case with a lot of these turbo 100% modes on flashlights. The third consideration is the configuration process for those modes. Might be a little bit overwhelming at first. There's 12 mode groupings in there. I touched on them. But yeah, it's quite flexible once you get the hang of it, and yeah, quite easy. So yeah, I'll link the video of how to do that in the description below. The next consideration is that mine didn't come with a clip for some reason, and yeah, I wish that they did have a clip on there because it would just make it a lot easier to use and yeah, carry around, but it's good that there's a lanyard. You can also get that clip separately. Another consideration is that the copper titanium version of the T6 is more expensive than the aluminium version, and it also doesn't dissipate heat nearly as well. Okay, it's comparable though, but yeah, one thing you'll notice is that it is heavier, but of course you're going to get that added durability, and it's going to wear much better in time as well. The last consideration is kind of funny because I thought that the SFT-12 might outperform my SFT-25R in the same host, but it doesn't. Seems to underperform. So yeah, I wonder what you guys think about that. Is this something that you found in different models? Maybe comparing two different Convoy S8 models, because I've only got this SFT-12 in this particular flashlight. Overall, the copper/titanium version of the Convoy T6 is a fantastic AA/14500 flashlight. For those of you who want high output and throw in a small portable package, and the fact that it takes a primary cell as well, those AA cells just make it really useful in an emergency situation. And there's a ton of manufacturers out there offering so-called exotic metal flashlights like this, but they charge a huge premium. I think Convoy, one of the few manufacturers that offer the best value to performance and quality ratio out there. So if you're looking for a durable, reliable, and unique looking pocket thrower, make sure you check out this version of the Convoy T6. I've left a link down below in the video description if you want to find out more. If you have questions, let me know as well, and I will get back to you in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, do me a big favor, click the like button and share it with someone who might be interested. It helps me to get this video out to more people. And if you want to see more flashlight reviews, keep up to date with the latest flashlight news, make sure you subscribe. Had to get this cloud formation in here as well. Amazing. And there we go, we've got my T6 here. Just lighten up those trees here at the back. They're kind of mid-range distance. Even the 10%'s hitting them quite well. 35, 100. Just really like seeing those raindrops just go through the beam as well. Bits of matter through the air. I've got the Convoy T6, and This is on the 1% mode, 10% mode, 35% mode. Good enough to hit the back of those trees, and then 100% here. Now on the right, I've got the T6 with the SFT-12R. So basically, the SFT-12 25R, they start off pretty similar, but as you can see, I was really expecting quite a, maybe an extra bit of throw with the SFT-12, just due to the smaller die surface. But having a look at these both together, throw looks pretty similar. But let's just see how they hold up together. It's a bit rainy today. I had to take some shelter for a bit of time until the rain sort of went away. The camera's wet, but thankfully still working perfectly fine. Hopefully it lasts till the end of these beam shots. But yeah, as you can see, both of these, the intensity of both of the beams is quite similar. It's just that the SFT-12 seems to just have a smaller hotspot rather than the SFT-25R. SFT-12, there's also less spill. Just want to wait for a bit to see what happens after the step down. Yeah. But yeah, really quite similar. There you go. This is the SFT-12 again, in 4 modes, 100% mode. T6 SFT-25R. Oh, see that? Got a bat. Spotted a bat there to the left. Yes, we have bats here in Melbourne. Convoy T6 with the SFT-12, 1%, 10%, 35%, reaching right to the end. This path, and 100%. Okay, great visibility. I mean, even with this rain, it's pretty heavy before. I'm still kind of, when I'm underneath some trees. And yeah, you can see there's a decent amount of spill too, even on the lower modes. 10%, that'd be okay for a walking light, but predominantly it's a long range flashlight. And let's compare this to my SFT-25R in the same host. Okay. More light. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that's on 100%. Definitely more light, and this throw is, yeah, surprisingly quite similar. I'll go for a bit of a walk with the T6 SFT-12.